What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I know I made this thing last night. I sent this picture to my cousin because this reminds me of something we would have done back when we were like 12, 14 years old. I mean, we used to be obsessed with manual transmissions. It wasn't just me, it was me and my cousin. And we'd break into this junkyard and steal like the coolest shifters. I always took the curvy Mustang shifters, and I would, we'd mount them on like a box with a shift boot, and we'd put them in our parents' vehicles. Like if you had a minivan, we'd put them right on the floor and you could reach them and shift along with the car. But no, this is just for demonstration purposes. I'm making an MGW adapter for a Magnum transmission. So this just acts as like, the T56 mount that sticks up on your Magnum. It's just your 2-hole post. I have some custom parts I'm using, adapters, and the MGW shifter will be in today, so I'm getting this all ready. And also we're going to go out to my car and see what's in it now. That'll be interesting. I was told it's one of these garbage handles, but we'll see. Yeah, they got the blue and the golds, but the blue's nice. Yeah, so it's going to be great. I mean, once I do the mount for this is going to be a height adjustment. This is going to be a height adjustment. Here, you can also do a left-right adjustment. What else? You can literally get whatever type of reach you want because they sell 3 different size handles. Plus, if you like spin this handle like the way you wouldn't think you'd want it, you could make the handle, you could just put it in any position that you want. If you have long monkey arms, you might need something else. So this piece is going to be mounting over in here. So basically, to give you an idea of what you'd be looking at for this setup, here's a stock one. This would bolt right here, about right there. So you're looking at, the angles are way different. Plus you can go left to right with this one. So way more adjustment. I'm just gonna do it, and then you can figure out where I want. Just gonna do it, and then I'll figure out where I want the handle. I'll get the mount in my car, and I'll get all that. Then I'll put this in, and I can get it right where I want it. So basically, I say that a lot. This part that slips in here in both the holes, I'd say it's about 1 inch diameter. This, my new piece that I'm going to be using, is not. So you're either going to have to bore out the hole on this or take some off of this. That's what you're looking at. Because I want this thing to be sitting down all the way low on it. Tom, shout out to Tom, who sent me he used to run an old MGW handle in his Magnum, and it was just different. It didn't have this block, so you can't run this setup because he had his higher up and everything for just his comfort. There, he had his extended, but you can't run these up here. So if you wanted to do something like that, you'd have to modify it. I mean, it's not really a big deal. But this shaft is too small anyways. You got to get the inch. That's where these bushings come in if you need them, because these bushings will slide right in here. But that's not an MGW product. This is extra stuff that I got because I got options up the wazoo here. I'm going to see what works best and then maybe try and market it for some people who need an MGW or need a better throw in their Magnum. In regards to size, the comfort handle it reaches back about as far as, your standard short throw handle, but you should have more adjustment on it. It's going to go farther back because this block offsets it. It puts it back in the second hole, so it's actually going to be over here. And it's going to this is going to be a big difference in the car. And again, if that's too far for you, some people don't like that. They sell shorter arms. There's one that's like their standard one that's shorter, and then they have like a more straight up and I was like, why don't I just show you? So, I mean, that's their older style. This is what I was going to go with. I actually found one, but the kid wanted too much for it, for what it was. And this is their new style now. It's pretty much what I have now. Mine's just a different color. That's their straighter handle, too. I mean, they have a bunch of different handles. So, just look them up. I know that it couldn't work for the Magnum for a while, but I'm gonna fix that. And here's some pictures of it. Just installs like that. Oh, it feels good. I haven't sat in this car in so long. Yeah, here's the shifter position on this now. It doesn't come back that far. It is in neutral. Make sure there's nothing in my pockets always before you get in. Carefully get in. Okay. So, first order of business, take the knob off. I'm not going to be using this anyway. I'll probably just bring it in, put it somewhere for now. This, we're going to just pop it out from the sides. You know, you push in a little here, push in here, and pop it straight out. There'll be a plug for this. Unplug that. Hopefully I can do it without a poker. Wow, this thing clips in very tight. It is a lot quieter of a car than my other one. As far as dash rattles in here goes, it seems tighter than my other car. And I mean, it does have less miles, so it's to be expected, but this thing came out so easy on mine where I had to put in some effort to actually pop this thing out on this. So this for me is a 13 millimeter going through on each side. Get that out. And like he said, it's a triax like what I got inside. Must have had to use different bolts because of the triax, because I mean it is threaded in there, if you can see that. Probably not. But yeah, the shifter's in a good position on the Magnum. It's right here. So let's bring this stuff in and we'll work on it in there. Now I got all my stuff inside. I will work on this after. I gotta finish up some painting and clean up. And you know, I was just thinking, even if you wanted to go like lower, oh, this is gonna sit like this. If you wanted to go lower, you could like flip this around, mount it that way. But I mean, how crazy do you want to get? I just want it lower than this thing, and I want it farther back towards me. That's all. So this is where I asked the MGW guy, and he's like, no, the new style is shorter, actually. He's like, and he showed me a picture. Maybe I can show you this. And he goes, look closer, you know, these ones are taller. He's trying to tell me these handled ones were taller. And I was like, no, it's definitely not. Because when you go over here now, measuring it, comparing it to the triax that was in there, if I put, say this is here, if I put this over here, look how tall this is. Look how tall that is compared to that. There's no way I'm running this. So this isn't going to work. Yeah, their new design is taller than the old design. I will correct him. As you can see, if the orange handle was on here, it would come out, come up, and it would be pretty much similar height to this one, but their new design makes it taller. So just like I said before, I'm gonna have to do something custom and like flip this thing upside down, mount it closer to the bottom now, and then I should achieve what I need, I think. Just a shame that I have to do that way. Yeah, it's better. So I just sent all the pictures to MGW. I was just telling them, I was kindly trying to correct him, and I was just saying, see, this size is taller. This new style is taller. I mean, here, this is a stock handle. You know how big these things are, right? And here's their new handle. Check this thing out. So it's gonna mount above the two holes right there. It's actually like a slight bit taller. So just know what you're getting. So this is the style I'm gonna go with. I got it to sink down pretty low when you put it in upside down. And this will put me, it'll put me lower than the stock handle at least. And it'll put me close to that one. And again, I'm gonna try and go down as far as I can on the mount. But we'll see what happens. We might have to adjust this and stuff. We'll see. Had to fix my angle a little bit because obviously on Mustangs this thing bolts off to the left hand side, so it's already going to be a little to the left, but that should be perfect. It should mimic my other handle that was in my gray car. That's what I'm trying to accomplish, is how my other one looked. This should be close now. It's going to sit down on the thing, so yeah, we should be good. Should even come back a little farther than the stock shifter. So it's going to be interesting to see what this is going to turn out like. All I'm going to do on this too is pry this apart and slip. Oh, I was supposed to put this in the freezer. I'm going to put this in the freezer so the metal shrinks just a little bit. Grease this up and then pry this apart, and I'm just going to slip it right in and be done. Be nice if the new knob came in today. Got a brand new knob going on. Oh yeah. So I think I'm gonna end this video right here, make a part 1 and 2 series. Part 2 will be installing it in the car, but I pretty much accomplished what I needed to. This is gonna be about right here. So you can see that the height's pretty much the same, and I get it farther back like I wanted, and I'll be able to move it over towards the driver more. So even though it didn't go as how I thought it would go, I'm still going to accomplish what I wanted here with all this. Got my display thing. I don't know what I'm doing with this. And that was pretty much just to test some things out. Because on the new short throw bases, the MGW bases themselves, where this part is, I'm not putting down the company or anything. It's great that they're making stuff for our cars and other cars, but basically what you're looking at here is what the orange handle by itself could accomplish. The old school, just the orange handle that bolts on, just like that. And then it just comes up and goes over. This thing is heavy. This is really heavy. This isn't light. This is decently light, but this thing's pretty heavy. Their other part was just way lighter. That arm that was made out of, aluminum. I'm sure they might be saving money somehow now, or I don't know. Just the other design was better. And it was much simpler. You didn't need all these screws and the different handles. I mean, it was just a handle that slipped right on the base here. It just slips on. Okay, so the biggest difference when you run an MGW, an actual MGW shifter base, instead of the 2 holes here, you're just going to have a rod to slip this onto. This round piece that'll slip right onto your short base. So it will sit lower. It'll sit lower than what I'm doing here. So your car and your regular T56 will be different. Just order a MGW shifter, and I mean, if it is too tall, just flip it upside down like this, if it fits, because remember, your shaft coming up off the base is now going to be here. So if it starts like right here, you might be okay, and you'll be able to reach, because I mean, this has to clear. This is all stuff I'm taking into consideration, because I want my handle so low. I mean, if this gets any interference, I'm just going to cut that off. But that's the way I had to do it in this. I had to do it upside down because the way they want you to do it would add this much more height. It's just crazy. It's too much for me. It's tall as it is. But I'm going to end it here, guys. Until part 2, this is what I'm doing, though. One last thing for the Magnum on the short throw, because they do sell a few different bases for the Magnum. I wanted to buy one, but I wouldn't be able to put it in, so I said, why bother now? Problem is, on our cars, there's a 6-bolt base so it's longer, you're not going to be able to get to the bolts through the hole in your tunnel unless you cut it out bigger, which that'll never happen. I mean, even if I could access the bolts underneath the car, which I probably could, I don't know if I'd be able to finagle this thing out. It's something I'd have to check into. But the Magnum transmission, the throws are okay as it is. It's just, I really wanted to upgrade the lever, make that comfortable. This is fine.